I've never thought about this before. The last few weeks I've been thinking about the class affinity of servants, so I decided to dig into the related theories, and with a little help of the whatever it is makes sense, no jutsu, the class affinities actually make sense when you think about it long enough. Let's join the fun and we'll have a great time discussing this topic. We will begin with the 3 knight classes. I mean, these are the 3 classes that I find easiest to describe. Each of them carries something that gives them a distinctive character. Archers possess a distinct advantage over sabers due to their range advantage. With their bows and arrows, archers can rain down projectiles from a safe distance, effectively neutralizing the threat of sabers. No matter how physically strong a saber may be, their strength becomes irrelevant if they are struck down by arrows before they can even reach the archers. This range advantage allows archers to maintain a strategic position, picking off their opponents one by one without putting themselves in immediate danger. Honestly, I don't think we've ever seen a saber defeated by an archer in that way in this series, because every saber we've seen has always been able to shrug off the archer's attacks, or the archer has always shot at a distance that can be seen up close when fighting the saber. But in the real world, you can easily defeat a swordsman with one fatal shot. Lancers, on the other hand, possess a unique ability to swiftly close the gap between themselves and archers. Their agility and speed enable them to quickly maneuver around the battlefield, evading the arrows and closing in on their targets. I'm sure we all know a certain famous lancer in a tight blue outfit who likes to evade. Anyway, most archers are ill-equipped to handle close-quarters combat, rendering them relatively useless when faced with a lancer in close proximity. The lancer's ability to zip in close without taking hits gives them a significant advantage over archers, as they can exploit the archer's vulnerability up close. Of course, not all archers are like this, but for the most part, heroes who carry projectile weapons always attack from afar. However, in this affinity, which is Saber and Lancer class, I interpret it in terms of stamina effectiveness. In prolonged fights, where stamina and resilience become crucial, Sabers have the upper hand against Lancers. Don't forget, they are known as the strongest class. Consider that Sabers have an attack range that is quite large. Look at this. But yeah, I still think the difference in stamina between the 2 classes is what determines the affinity of Saber and Lancer. Now we move to the other triangle. Casters have a distinct advantage over assassins due to their ability to use scrying spells and other sensory tricks to track down their elusive targets. Casters can easily detect the presence of assassins and thwart their attempts at stealth and surprise attacks. Meanwhile, riders and casters are fighting for time. We know that riders are a class armed with speed, while casters must cast magic first. In other words, riders are expected to defeat the caster before the caster can finish their magic. On the other hand, assassins are masters of deception and stealth, making them a formidable opponent for riders. They can easily ambush riders when they are not on their mounts. Actually, I got the idea of assassins effective against riders from the Assassin's Creed game. You know, the assassins often sneak into a horse carriage or a train or other vehicles, and it's very easy for them to do that. Now we come to a slightly confusing area, because the appearance of the extra class is not clearly visible from the outside. Actually, here I'm not quite sure, but here's my theory. You guys can help me out in the comments. Avengers beat rulers because rulers are prone to the forgive and forget mentality. Just look at Jan. While Avengers are incapable of forgiveness and thus catch them off guard. As for Moon Cancer being effective against the Avengers, I honestly don't know. I'm still not sure. But looking at BB, the first one being Moon Cancer, which is considered the new evil of humanity, maybe this means overcoming the vengeful power of the Avengers. Ruler is effective against Moon Cancer. This makes sense. Because Moon Cancer is a title bestowed to those who threaten the world of the moon, those who attempt to invade the core of Seraph. So rulers in theory can make them obey the rules and not do whatever they want. Berserkers are good offensively and terrible defensively because they're berserkers, and thus entirely focused on attacking, leaving themselves wide open to retaliation of any kind. That one was easy. Berserkers are defined by both their madness and how they gave into it for power. Thus, who better to face them than foreigners, who not only gained power from contacting mind-rending eldritch horrors, but overcame the insanity to bring out their full power. But why do foreigners lose to alter egos? Well, I think it's because most alter egos are incarnated programs of one sort or another, and are thus able to endure their sanity-eroding powers with minimal psychological damage. Sounds a bit of a stretch, but yeah, you guys can help me out. For the rest of this video, I may sound like a bit of a hack, but whatever. In my opinion, foreigners can effectively overpower pretenders because pretenders have to spend time and effort creating a cover identity in order to gain new powers, while foreigners flat out override reality and thus either acquire new powers that counter them faster than they can compensate for, or forcibly strip them of their masks, and thus their powers. Alter egos, like I said before, are basically programmed beings. That's why pretenders can easily exploit them, since fake information, which pretenders excel at, can mess up their functions or even cause them to malfunction. In a way, pretenders are to alter egos what viruses are to operating systems or programs. And shielders both deal out and receive normal damage from all enemies. Why? Well, shields are fantastic for defense, not so much for offense. I think that was pretty obvious. So, what do you think? Please, if you have another opinion, just write it in the comments. Oh, don't forget to subscribe, or one of the Sakura 5 will come to you in your sleep.